I'll briefly walk through this stand with you so you can get an idea of what it looks like. And just to reiterate, this is a fire that regenerated naturally after fire and logging activity about 80 years ago. And there's been a deliberate decision to not have any management activity in this stand since, so you can see how a stand might progress on a natural trajectory without management activity. I will point out one thing here that's kind of interesting. Do you see this big, I think this is a Douglas fir log, this coarse woody debris on the ground, and do you see all the vegetation that's growing on it? So we've got a pretty thick mat of moss, and I think probably a little bit of organic soil development on this. I see spiny wood ferns, sword ferns, foam flower, red huckleberry, and also in this direction, I'm touching a little hemlock seedling. So we'll talk more about this in some other videos, but hemlock will regenerate in what's called a nurse log like this. It will be able to grow in a decomposing log. I'm going to walk down to the stream now. There's a little bit of a stream down here that I'll show you. Oh, and actually before I do that, we've got some good plants here. This is an oak fern. It's another good coastal indicator species. I'm touching it with my left hand here. It looks a little bit like a bracken fern, but it's much more delicate and much smaller. They don't often get too much bigger than this. And I'm not sure what kind of trillium this is, but this is a trillium that's flower is done and is getting ready to go to seed. And then another plant I'll point out as long as I'm here. This plant with the very shiny leaves is English holly. So this is an exotic invasive species that is a bit of a challenge for management in the forest. Okay, and here we are in a stream here. I'm seeing some I think some small fish darting around in here, or maybe it's just the water striders. Nope, I see some small fish in there. I am not an aquatic ecologist, so I don't know what those are. But obviously, these riparian areas are really important in forests and important to think about in management, because you can imagine if you're harvesting trees near a riparian area, you're going to be increasing runoff and sediment. So that's something that needs to be taken into account during harvesting. And you can also tell this is a wet area. Here's a skunk cabbage or swamp lantern. They like to grow in these wet areas. And the water level is relatively low right now. We're in the dry part of the year. You might remember that the lower mainland, so the kind of the area around Vancouver, has a quite dry period during the summer. And so the water level right now is pretty low. If we were to come back here in the winter when precipitation levels are much higher, there would be a lot more water flowing through here at that point. And looking on the other side of the creek, opposite where I'm standing, looking up, I'm seeing a lot of vine maple. I think they're doing pretty well. It's a little bit wetter here since we're in a lower spot where water is flowing toward. And there's, it's not a super open canopy, but there's enough light coming in there. They're a pretty shade tolerant species.